Thanks for staying with us. We're going to move on now to the Punch. We're still on Punch.
Yes, we're still in.
Go ahead.
Yes, I have the major
headline.
So, organized private sector, across board, small, medium-scale businesses, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, across board are all, decrying this situation of attacks on warehouses and trucks of goods traveling across the country. So they are saying that this is, going to result in businesses shutting down. And there are some foreign investors who don't even know how to deal with the continuous attack on their goods traveling down to, base. Also, we know the Punch took inventory of all these various attacks that have happened the past weeks, and they also confirmed that 15 suspects have been arrested in connection to the warehouse attack in Abuja. And the IG, according to one of the papers, but in the Punch, is the FCT's special advisor on media to the FCT minister, who says that warehouses within Abuja now will now be reinforced with police, and they'll be protected.
These are private businesses. These are private businesses.
But the private organizers are asking government to do something. It's already hard to do business, but if there's no security for their goods, of course, they may have to close business.
Yeah. Okay, so the African Development Bank Board of Directors has approved $134 million for Nigeria to implement an emergency food production plan. This was said by the president of the African Development Bank, Mr. Akinwumi Adesina. According to him, they are also having talks about a $1.7 billion economic and budget support loan, as well as the launch of a $1 billion agro-industrial processes in 28 states. So these are interventions following all the food crisis we've been having in Nigeria. So Adesina made the disclosures during an interview with journalists in Lagos on Monday. The development came amid the biting food strategy. We've said that earlier. So this is part of the interventions we need. Hopefully, we don't know the timelines to when these things will be materialized, so that to help our...
But our former president is asking that we seek advice from Zimbabwe. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, was speaking at his 87th birthday symposium, which was organized by the Center for Human Security and Dialogue in collaboration with the Institute for African Culture and International Understanding. It took place at the Presidential Library, and he said that the inflation we're grappling with, officially we're at 29.9%. There's been several protests across the country on how the cost of living is high and people are struggling. And that Zimbabwe has gone through this in very recent times, that even if we don't want to follow Zimbabwe's template, let us ask that if we find out from Zimbabwe what they did, we can then choose to navigate our way out, but it gives us more options on how to go about it. Well, if it's someone that has been the president for Nigeria twice and is 87 is speaking, I think that the government should listen. In the minimum way, let's just know, okay, this is what Zimbabwe's template is.
To Zimbabwe,
or they will say, we've spoken to them already, this is what they did, we are doing this or we're not doing this.
So, and again, yeah,
let's let them carry us along.
That's advice. Vanguard. Thing is in my head, I don't want to say it out.
Don't say it.
Corporate Nigeria shuts down Lagos for Wigwe. Electricity discos reject 753 megawatts despite federal government's pressure. MPR Obaseki for CBN warns of tougher times ahead. Why SIMs previously linked to NIN were barred. And Edo Guba, INEC opens candidate nomination portal. Okay, which story?
I have the major headline. Yesterday was the night of tribute, or, the event, how did they put it? Is it Wake Up or something? But the nation
Service of Songs,
Night of Tributes. Night of Tributes is what the Vanguard captured this as.
Yes.
And, we had, of course, friends and allies of the late MD CEO of Access Bank in attendance to honor him. And Dangote's speech was most touching because he broke down. It was teary when he described how loyal and supportive Wigwe was. He called him a mentee. He called him a friend, a supporter. He said he's been so instrumental to his own family and his business, and he cherishes the warm friendship that they shared. And he also disclosed that he will name the road linking to the refinery after him. In attendance also was the African Development Bank President, additional and the Minister for Finance, governors of Lagos and Ogun, and they all had some laudable things to say about the late MDC.
Really sad. May you so rest in peace. I think also the other the other person that died too, the Gugumajo too, he also had his own service of songs almost around.
Yes, he did that. That was last week.
Yeah, that was last week. Really painful. Okay, so another story in Vanguard.
Yeah, the story of our energy. The discos have rejected 753 megawatts. And the reason for that is, they said, despite the fact that the government has begged them to take up all the power available, they only took 3,265 out of the over 4,000 that was available, despite pressure from the federal government, so that they can improve supply. The distribution, they now listed each of the distribution companies and what each of them took and what was left over. And they said there's been a marginal improvement in power. Obviously, in the past few weeks, it was really bad. Our production was very low, but last week, this week, every day, there's been constant over 4,000 megawatts. They said 20 power grids were up and running. And 20 power grids were up and running.
What do you wear?
But it's obvious the reason the discos are not collecting is because they don't want to owe the money. So they will only take what they are sure consumers are going to pay for, or consumers, the rate with which they are sure would be used. So I think that there needs to be more conversation between them. The federal government says that Nigerians are denied good life, that they're denied a good quality of life. That's from the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, who spoke on the fact that there was excess power that was not taken up, but that were denying Nigerians good quality of life. And obviously, many people are suffering on a huge scale because they can't store their food, there's no power, the weather is hot, and it's just a
horrible situation. Yeah. Anything else on Vanguard? Should we move on? Yeah. Okay. The Nigerian Tribune. Obaseki warns of tougher times ahead. Average retail price for refilling 5 kg cooking gas hits over 5,000 naira, says NBS. Ukraine's grain donation to Nigeria disheartening, says Obi. Oyo health workers begin 7-day strike. All theft, Navy nabs Ghanaian vessel, 13 crew members. Akeredolu's wife, niece at loggerheads over support for Aida Tiwa. PDP Ondo stakeholders brainstorm over Guba poll. Looting FCTA to establish police posts in warehouses. FG to begin distribution of grains nationwide. Okay, which story?
Nationwide distribution of grains by the federal government. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, said on Monday, using his X handle, that he wants, first of all, extending his sincere compassion to those affected by the hardships in the country, understands the gravity, the unfortunate event of foodstuff warehouse looting, and then he says the federal government has decided that, is committed to reducing and cushioning the hardships for us, and so they will commence the distribution of 42,000 metric tons of grains in 36 states of the Federation as one of the programs to be rolled out this week. They'll be working with NEMA and DSS to ensure that the grains get to the right people in right packages and quantities. Then 58,500 metric tons of milled rice from mega rice millers will also be released into the market for stabilization. And it's just to show government's commitment to, helping cushion the effect of the hardship Nigerians are going through right now.
Okay. Any other story in Tribune?
Yes, I have the story about the Oyo State health workers are down in tools. They begin a 7-day strike. The government said it's been doing its best to attend to their needs, but this is a collaboration of this. It's the National Union of Allied Health Professionals. So we're talking the Union of Medical Laboratory Scientists, physiotherapists, dental technologists, dental therapists, social workers, radiographers, nutritionists, dietitians, hospital and administrative pharmacists. And all these people are saying that they are down in tools because of some issues with their CONHES, the table of payments that they're supposed to get. They've raised this issue. They also said that there should be a restoration call of duty allowance, implementation of full directorate for medical lab services. And the government is saying they're talking to them, but I don't like when we let people let them go on strike. So if they already give notice, listen to them and talk to them. the people, this particular union have always complained that they don't get the same attention as doctors get. But yet, the hospitals cannot run without these people. You can't get treated without your medical reports. You don't get, without healthy diet, you're going to have issues with your health long term. So please let the government of your state talk to them before they go on strike, because they said they're starting the strike on March 11th.
Okay, another story in Tribune, and that's all we can take. You had Guardian. Want to take that major headline in Guardian?
Yes,
Let's see, over 198,000 pending court cases leave many in jail, businesses stranded. Is that a story you wanted to take?
Yes. That's
Go ahead,
the story. So, according to the Guardian, all the various courts have different, amounts of cases, totaling 198,432 pending cases across the nation. And we have about 54,124 awaiting trial inmates, those who are awaiting trial in court. And they just took an inventory completely. We are spending about 5,412,000 to feed daily, to feed them. According to the Guardian, they said, in addition, the Nigerian government spends 5,412,400 daily on paper. So we don't know whether that's truly, but that's what is in the books. And they blame this on a lot of cases. In my experience, technology would help. They're also suggesting technology to help judges to speedily listen to their cases. One of the difficulty we have, it's against the principle of natural justice to have not to hear a case. So we have finished trial of a pattern. We've prosecuted diligently a case to final written address, and the judge retires. The new judge that comes will have to hear it all over again. But if we had deployed some form of technology to keep the proper records, the person can, just catch up in between. Yeah. So imagine that we finished that matter before the ending of last year. We have to start afresh, all over, bring in all evidence again. So such things, of course, we make matters drag. So one of those things we know is against the principle of natural justice. That's why we have to hear it. But we can deploy other means to make sure, to ease.
Okay, another story that caught my attention in The Guardian. The president has called for the increased collaboration between the African Union and the United Nations to end the proliferation of arms and light weapons in Africa. This is a major issue we're facing. He expressed concern over the preponderance of weapons in several African countries and their contribution to conflict, insurgency, violence, and loss of lives in the region. So they must work together to find a way to reduce the number of weapons we have. It's really, really horrible. People just have access to weapons.
Easy access. Criminals have easy access.
Okay, that is all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we'll talk to our hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.